Most people don't pay enough attention to choosing a TV, especially considering they are really complicated nowadays with the AI and smart features, and dozens of panel and size types. You might act like you don't care about it, but listen to me. A bad TV actually affects your health and your enjoyment more than you expect. Especially considering the upcoming Football World Cup, I'm sure you're going to spend most of the time in front of the TV. So this video might be really useful for you if you're going to buy a TV, because I'm going to explain in simple terms how to choose a TV today, without any complicated words and BS. So let's get started. First, and one of the most important parts of choosing a TV is size. You might say, that's easy, I'll go for the bigger one, because big is always better. I don't want to disappoint you if you think like that, but listen, big doesn't mean better, because if it's too big for your sitting distance, it will be uncomfortable to watch without turning your head, and you have to agree with me that if you have to turn your head during the watching process, it will hurt your neck after the session. And on the other hand, if it's too small for your sitting distance, you won't see things clearly and you'll have to squint to watch the small details happening on your TV, such as the match score and so on. So a balanced size is the most important part of choosing right. Now, if you go to a tech website where you can buy a TV, you can see the filter on the site. In that filter, there will be a category called size. The size of the TV is measured in inches, so it won't be hard. Basically, it starts at 32 inches nowadays, and anything smaller is not a TV, be careful with that. And it can go up to 85 inches and bigger. So how do you calculate that sitting distance to TV size ratio? First of all, measure the distance between the wall where your future TV will be placed and your couch where you'll be sitting and watching a movie or football matches, whatever. Then on Google, you can type TV size to distance calculator and go to a random website to calculate it. But if you don't trust most of them, just go to the website, I'll leave a link in the description. Here, use the slider to choose the distance you're sitting at, and below that there is another slider that shows your ideal TV size. And there you go. Now you know exactly what size to look for. This is your ideal size. Alright, size is sorted. Now let's get into the other specs you need to pay attention to. Now the next important part of the TV is the panel type. Why? Well, panel type is the spec that determines picture quality, response time, and of course viewing angle. In simple terms, a good panel type is what makes color accurate. Red is red, green is green, and black is black. And if there's no space left on the couch, let's say you're having a hangout in your apartment, there will be people watching the TV from the angle. And in that case, if the panel type is bad, it will look gray from the side, which is not comfortable to watch to other people. Same thing with the colors, but let me explain with a bad TV example. If the TV panel type is bad, your black color will look gray and the reds won't be red. They will be a grayish red. Just look at this picture and you'll see the difference between a bad and a good TV panel type. Now, how do you determine if a specific panel type is good or bad? Well, for that you have to understand that there are 4 types dominating the market at the moment, which is basic LED, QLED, mini LED, and OLED. The difference between them is significant, so let me explain in simple terms. The first one is basic LED. These TVs are the cheapest on the market and they are pretty limited in terms of contrast, so colors might look basic. The next one is QLED, which is a little bit better than LED in terms of color, but in terms of contrast it's still limited just like basic LED. So for bedrooms or kitchens, that's fine. And by the way, it'll be a little bit more expensive than LED, but still not the ideal type. After that, we have mini LED. This technology is already considered the middle class and better than both of those combined, because it has better contrast, better colors, and better color accuracy in general, including black colors. But it's still not perfect, because you can still see minor blooming and halos around bright objects. But it's affordable compared to the last one, which is OLED. This is honestly the best option. I actually explained how it works in my other video about monitors, but in general, this is the peak of display technology at the moment, because it offers the deepest blacks possible, infinite contrast, and vibrant colors. Watching literally anything on it is a pleasure, but there is one problem. It has limited brightness, so watching it in a bright room might be a minor issue. So I hope you get it now. But which one should you choose now? Well, honestly, it's a hard question, but let me simplify. If you're gonna watch football, movies, and your room is dark, meaning sunlight isn't hitting the screen directly, then I recommend going for an OLED or a mini LED if you don't have the budget. But if you're just going to watch casual YouTube videos, QLED and a LED are fine. Those are also fine if you're putting the TV in the kitchen as a secondary one. But for the main room, go for mini LED or OLED. Now, this is the next important part you have to look at when choosing a TV, but be careful with this one. And before telling you why you should be careful, let me tell you what resolution actually is. Resolution is the amount of pixels on the screen, and most of the time companies refer to them as HD, 1080p, 4K, 80K, and so on. 4K means you have close to 4000 pixels in width. The more resolution you have, the sharper and the more detailed the picture is. But here's something you have to be careful of. When choosing a TV, in the resolution settings of any store, you have to choose a minimum of 4K. Because 1080p, HD and 2K are not options anymore nowadays. Also, 8K exists, but it only makes sense for native 8K content or very close viewing distances. On top of that, most streaming services haven't switched to 8K yet. Everything is mostly at 4K. So check that carefully and make sure your resolution is 4K. No more, no less. Now, what is refresh rate? Well, it's the number of times per second the display updates its image, measured in hertz. The higher the refresh rate, the more frames per second you'll see. But this is not something to choose blindly, and here a PC monitor and a TV actually make a difference. A PC monitor has refresh rate starting from 60Hz up to 750Hz, depending on the price. The higher the refresh rate, the more expensive it gets. It's pretty important in online games where computers can output up to 1000 frames per second. But the thing is, TVs can't show 1000 FPS. In fact, say thanks if it shows 120 FPS in the first place, because TVs are extremely limited for gaming. They only translate pre-rendered video, which is movies and the regular video content. And most movies and the videos are rendered only for 60 FPS. They simply don't go beyond that. That's why TV refresh rates mostly top out at 60 and 120 Hz. But if movies can't show more than 60 FPS, why would you need more than 60 Hz? Well, here's where the World Cup comes in. If you watch football, basketball, or any other sport with a lot of fast movement on screen, then 120 or 144 Hz actually makes sense, because cameras at those sporting events can capture at 120 and 144 Hz. That's why I recommend going for 120 Hz if you watch sports. At 60 Hz, you can notice motion blur from time to time and a little bit of micro lag. But also, be careful when choosing a 100 Hz TV. Because brands often manipulate with marketing, sometimes showing you 120 Hz as an effective refresh rate, which is not the actual refresh rate of the TV. The actual number is 60 Hz. It just combines the real native panel refresh rate with software tricks to fake a higher number. So always look for actual 120 Hz instead of the effective one. I hope you get it. Now let's talk about other specs. The next important spec is brightness. This one is logically understandable, I think, but there are still some things people must know that often go unmentioned. First of all, what is brightness? Brightness is a subjective visual perception of how much light appears to radiate or reflect from an object. In simple terms, it determines how bright the TV is, and it's measured in nits. The more nits you have, the brighter your TV is. But that doesn't mean that if the brightness is too high, it will hurt your eyes. You can always adjust the brightness after purchase, making it dimmer or brighter. So generally, more nits is better. Now, to be more precise, when choosing a TV, pay attention to the nit count. But keep in mind that more nits doesn't mean it's everything. It might just be overkill sometimes if that's the only thing making a TV expensive. So if your room is pretty dark, 500 to 600 nits are enough. But if you have a bright room or you like watching movies during the day, go for more than 1000, up to around 1500, but not more than that if it's not necessary. Honestly, even 1000 nits should be enough for most people. I hope you get it. Now, when it comes to this, first of all, let's make a deal. You will choose a TV with smart functions. Don't buy one without them. Now, once you do that, you might have a problem with choosing them. This is a little bit hard because there are different types of operating systems for smart TVs, which is Google TV or Android TV, LG Web OS, Samsung Tizen, and much more, including Apple TV. But here's the thing, you choose an OS based on the apps you use, and every OS has its downsides. If you like having more apps in general, choose Google TV or Android TV. It comes pre-installed on Sony, TCL, and Hisense TVs. And it even has Gemini built in if you're into AI features. But frankly, it lags quite a bit later on, so keep that in mind. LG Web OS is also good, mostly found on LG TVs, and honestly one of the best OSs out there. It has few ads and everything is very intuitive to use, but it only comes on LG TVs and it has no ecosystem to speak of compared to the next ones. Next is Samsung Tizen. This one syncs well with Galaxy phones and the ecosystem is pretty solid, not bad at all. But still be careful, with this TV you have to create a Samsung account, which I find really inconvenient considering that even Samsung phone users don't actually use a Samsung account, they use a Google account instead. On top of that, it has a lot of ads. But if you want the best premium OS and are willing to pay for it, and if you're in the Apple ecosystem, I recommend buying an Apple TV. That's a separate box that runs only the OS and the costs around $120. This OS is almost ideal, no lag, Apple Intelligence in newer versions, and it works seamlessly within the ecosystem if you use an iPhone and AirPods. That's 100% your choice. The downside is that you have to buy it separately since it's never built into TVs. So if you have an extra $120, it might be worth it. Also, there's no free browser and some apps are unfortunately not available, so be careful with all of them. Now the next thing is ports. If you're connecting a soundbar or a console, I recommend getting a TV with more USB ports, but for most other cases, HDMI 2.1 is enough, and it exists in virtually every TV. That's it, I think. Now let's wrap up with the conclusion. After this video, I hope you understand how to choose a TV, and now it won't be such a big problem. Whether you're choosing for the World Cup or not, I think this video will act as a formula for you, and you'll find your best model and enjoy watching football. By the way, write in the comments which team you are supporting in this World Cup, and also if you're looking for a tech community or if you have questions in that regard, join our Discord community where you can talk with people, and sometimes I jump into the chat as well. The link for the Discord server is under the video and in the pinned comment. I also left a link to some good TV models for you. Now, thanks for watching and take care.